On the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu launches Emblem Appeal Fund for 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Implementation Committee on Crude Oil and Product Sales in Naira meets President Bola Tinubu, gives briefing on progress. APC inaugurates Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu-led 305-member National Campaign Council for Ondo governorship election. On the foreign scene, Israeli attack on northern Gaza kills at least 109, dozens missing. We'll bring you details in a moment. Please stay with us. Thanks for joining us. I am Bukola Taylor Cole. President Bola Tinubu has launched the Emblem Appeal Fund for the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. The symbolic event to honor the nation's departed heroes and veterans was held in the council chambers of the presidential villa. President Tinubu thanked the armed forces for their role as the first line of defense in protecting the country, while also commending them for the recent successes recorded in fighting all threats to national peace and security. President Tinubu insists that it will be impossible to promote peace and development without security, and therefore commended the patriotic commitment of the armed forces to national unity, stability, and progress.
If we have no security, you cannot promote peace and development. I'm grateful to all of you on behalf of the country. Yes, the challenges are still there, but you are the first line of defense for this country. Thank you for your patriotic commitment to Nigerian unity, stability, and progress. Today to remember our fallen heroes who had sacrificed their lives, men and women, for the unity, stability, and progress of this country. We are committed to their values, their principle, their belief, and the unity and stability of this country as we pass on to the next generation a banner without stain. To you all, we have to continue to strive to eliminate conflict in our country, to eliminate terrorism, banditry, and make priority the stability of this country.
Meanwhile, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, announced a donation of 500 million naira on behalf of the federal government for the welfare of the veterans and families of fallen heroes. On his part, Senate President Godswill Akpabio announced a donation of 200 million naira on behalf of the National Assembly, while the Chief of Defense Staff announced a donation of 50 million naira on behalf of all service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police. The federal government says the presidential initiative for the sales of crude and refined petroleum products in Naira will help create more employment by promoting local investments. Chairman of the presidential initiative and Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, in company of the chairman, Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, stated this while briefing State House correspondents after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu. The minister said after a seamless take-off of the laudable initiative, Mr. President has expressed his desire to ensure that the well-being of the nation's economy where local investments thrive. On the direct impact of the sales of crude to local refiners in Naira, the minister said the cascading effects will be felt in the increased allocations to the subnational governments as the NNPCL's balance sheet will improve tremendously. Meanwhile, on the consistent scarcity of petroleum products despite the readiness of a local refinery to satisfy local consumption, Aliko Dangote said the challenges with the retailers who have not been forthcoming but still choose to be important. Government commenced the sales of crude oil and other refined petroleum products in Naira on October 1. Now, this strategic initiative hopes to increase the capacity of local refining that will in turn reduce dependence on imported fuel, saving billions of dollars that can be invested into other areas of the economy. The presidency has postponed the screening of 7 ministerial nominees to allow all nominees to conclude all aspects of documentation and pre-screening exercises. The screening exercise was initially scheduled to hold today on the floor of the Senate, but the presidency said the exercise has now been shifted to Wednesday. This was contained in the statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Senate Matters, Bashiru Lado. Recall that President Bola Tinubu sacked 5 ministers, reassigned 10 ministers to new ministerial portfolios, and appointed 7 new ministers for Senate confirmation. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, says electricity will be restored to northern Nigeria within the next 3 days. Adelabu disclosed this while responding to questions from senators regarding the power outage affecting the region and the recurring grid collapse across the country. On October 22, the Transmission Company of Nigeria reported an outage in the northeast, northwest, and parts of north-central Nigeria after the 330 kilovolt Ugwaji RPO double-circuit transmission lines 1 and 2 tripped. According to the executive director of the independent system operator, Nafisatu Ali, the Shiroro Kaduna transmission line supplying power to the north was vandalized by insurgents. In response, President Bola Tinubu directed the military to provide security for workers repairing the power lines. As a temporary measure, Adelabu said power would be supplied through the Ugwaji Makurdi transmission line, which could cover approximately 80% of affected states. He added that efforts are underway to reach the damaged grid with the assistance of security agencies. Now, once fully accessible, the damaged lines will be repaired, allowing for a complete restoration of power to the affected areas. And in response to the disruption of power supply in northern Nigeria, Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin says security agencies are preparing to take decisive action against insurgents hindering the repairs of critical power lines. This follows reports from the Transmission Company of Nigeria about widespread outages affecting the northeast, northwest, and parts of north-central Nigeria due to destruction of transmission lines, particularly the Shiroro Kaduna line. Now, speaking on the floor of the Senate, Jibrin said the Office of the National Security Advisor is on top of the situation.
About the lack of electricity supply in the northern part of this country. This is happening due to the fact that the electricity tower coming from within the area that electricity is taken to the northern part of the country was vandalized by terrorists. And it has become a problem for the TCN staff to get to where this occurred, to get it restored, because that area is being occupied by terrorists. Now, what has been done is, what is being done now is that the security agencies are putting their hands together to get to that spot and try to eradicate or take away the threat that is being there for quite a while.
I recall that Nafisatu Ali, the Executive Director, Independent System Operator, said the Shiroro Kaduna transmission line, which supplies power to northern Nigeria, was recently vandalized by insurgents. Now, moving on, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, says the 10th House will prioritize university autonomy for better performance. Abbas stated this during the public hearing on 5 bills seeking to establish Federal University of Solid Mineral Development, Michika, Adamawa State. The Speaker, represented by a member of the House, Esosa Iyawi, said the bills were also considering establishment of 4 other universities across the country. Abbas noted that the lawmakers are aware of the reservations of many Nigerians about establishing new universities, particularly because some of the existing ones were underperforming and did not meet global academic standards. He, however, noted that the legislators must also respond to the growing population, which had resulted in thousands of qualified young Nigerians being unable to gain university admission. This, the Speaker said, had become an issue as universities often reached their admission quotas, thus highlighting the urgent demand for higher education, which had continued to increase alongside the population. And meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has described women representation in Nigeria's parliament since 1999 as disappointingly low. Abbas stated this while delivering his keynote address at the International Legislative Dialogue on Women and Constitution Amendment in Nigeria, organized in Abuja. He said despite notable contributions from Nigerian women across various sectors, only 20 of the 469 seats in the National Assembly are occupied by women. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, represented by Chairman Senate Committee on Special Duties, Senator Kaka Shehu, says it is not just about justice, but it is a patriotic duty to be gender neutral.
Increased representation of women is not a luxury, but a necessity for sustainable national development and stability. Around the world, and particularly in Africa, we see encouraging examples of gender inclusion. Rwanda, with over 60% women representation in its parliament, has shown us that robust, intentional policies work.
We believe that the progress of our nation hinges on the active participation of all its citizens, especially women. The 10th Senate has made significant strides in supporting women's empowerment. We have passed legislations aimed at combating gender-based violence, ensuring that women can live free from fear and oppression. We have taken steps to increase women representation in decision-making bodies, including introduction of gender quotas in political party nominations.
First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, represented by the First Lady of Kwara State, Professor Olufolake Abdulrazak, lamented that while women contribute immensely during elections in the country, it has not reflected in the inclusion of women in governance. In the same vein, representative of Conference of Speakers of States Legislature, Stephen Adeoye, assured women that the Conference of Speakers will ensure that the amendment of women inclusion in governance in Nigeria is achieved.
This development, you will agree with me, gives credence to the propriety of today's gathering, as it affords us the opportunity to discuss prevalent challenges hindering legislative actions and enhance awareness on the importance of temporary special measures such as legislated gender quotas, reserved seats, and political party quotas as gender-responsive approaches to enhancing political inclusion and participation of women in the country.
Stakeholders at the event said it is imperative for Nigeria to include women in governance, and the review of the constitution is to achieve gender balance in Nigeria's parliament. The Lagos State Governor and the chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC National Campaign Council for November 16 Ondo State governorship election, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has assured his party leadership that the committee would win the forthcoming governorship election with nothing less than 80% of the total votes. He urged all party leaders and members to work for the victory of the APC gubernatorial candidate, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. Governor Sanwo-Olu stated this during the inauguration of the APC National Campaign Council by the party leadership led by the National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje in Akure, the capital of Ondo State. Now, Governor Sanwo-Olu, who noted that the party had given him the same assignment in the state twice, pledged that the campaign council would do everything within its means constitutionally and professionally to defeat other political parties in the November 16 poll. The Lagos State Governor appreciated President Bola Tinubu, who he described as the leader of the party, for giving his support for the APC National Campaign Council to lead the governorship campaign in Ondo State. In his address, the APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje expressed confidence that the ruling party in Ondo State will win the governorship election with a wide margin in a free and fair contest. Ganduje, while inaugurating the council, urged them to swing into action and build a strong synergy with the state and local campaign council for APC to be victorious in the gubernatorial poll. The All Progressives Congress APC in Osun State has suspended former Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola over alleged anti-party activities. In a resolution submitted to the APC National Secretariat and addressed to the National Chairman Umar Ganduje, the Osun APC accused Aregbesola, a former governor of the state, of creating divisions within the party by establishing a splinter faction. This alleged move was seen as undermining the party's cohesion and unity, especially during critical period in Osun politics. The APC in Osun claims that Aregbesola's action have fueled internal divisions, with party leaders asserting that his influence on certain groups has caused significant discord. Now, this suspension marks a decisive action by the party's state's chapter to address perceived disloyalty and realign its leadership ahead of future elections. Now, the Lagos State government has harped on the need for road users, transport workers union, and other stakeholders to always obey traffic rules and regulations to ensure the safety of lives and property on Lagos roads, particularly during the Ember months. And this is the core message of the 2024 Ember Months campaign and safety advocacy event in Lagos. We have details in this report.
The increase in the number of accidents and carnage during the Ember Month has always necessitated a call for action for responsible driving. Here at Bonny Camp, Lagos Island, It's time to remind the drivers about the need to pay attention to their health and to all road safety regulations.
The beauty of their job as professional driver is to leave home safely and arrive home safely to join their family. So I want to appeal to them that this Ember month and beyond, they should be mindful of their speed, they should be mindful of the condition of their vehicles, and to ensure that their vehicle is in good condition at all times.
I've learned how to be a good road user. I've learned how to maintain traffic rules and regulations.
I advise them to move betterly on the road and obey the traffic law, not to go beyond the Lagos State order.
According to the Lazarus boss, ensuring safety on Lagos roads is critical.
Those signs, as a driver, if you don't know it, they call it a killer. Or the signs on the road there, they are telling you what is expected of you to do to be a better driver. What we are passionate about is what Mr. Governor is passionate about, which is safety of life and property. And we believe you can achieve that through continuous training.
If we educate and remind all these road users ahead of time, they can prepare themselves for the rushing hour of that season, such that they will be able to apply all those knowledge that they have acquired from the agency.
Stakeholders at this event, which include military personnel, LATMA, VIS officials, appeal to professional drivers and road users to have basic knowledge of traffic rules, ensure their vehicles were in good condition to ensure safety as they contribute positively to economic growth of the state. Joshua Muraknio, LTV News, Lagos.
Still ahead. Nigerian Bar Association laments fuel price hike, inflation and rising cost of living, calls for review of government policies. That's in the moment. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Lagos State Task Force has declared the conduct of blocking roads for parties or religious events as illegal, warning those involved will face the full weight of the law. The agency, in a statement signed by its Director Press and Public Affairs, Badenyo Abdurrahim, condemned the act, saying it causes inconvenience to other residents and motorists. The statement cited deep concern expressed by the chairman of the agency, Adetayo Akerele, over the growing trend of obstructing public roads for personal events, noting that such actions disrupt the lives of law-abiding citizens and pose security and safety risk. Akerele highlighted a recent incident where a social event on Raymond Njoku Street in Ikoyi was disrupted after the force responded to reports of traffic obstruction and noise pollution. The event was terminated and key organizers arrested. The chairman further emphasized that the Lagos Task Force will not tolerate any act that compromises environmental and public safety. He stressed that enforcement actions will be taken against anyone found violating this directive. He urged residents to use designated event centers or obtain necessary permits from relevant authorities before organizing gatherings that may impact public roads. Akerele also reaffirmed the Lagos State government's commitment to ensure a safer, more orderly environment for all residents. The Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, has called on government at all levels to implement remuneration policies based on economic reality to help retain health workers in the country. Chairman, NMA Lagos Chapter, Dr. Babajide Said, made the call by briefing newsmen on activities lined up for the National Physician Week.
And better remuneration. Better remuneration related to inflation. You don't give better, what makes remuneration to be good, effective, related to inflation. If inflation increasing, you increase the remuneration, which that remuneration. The second one is welfare mechanism. Very simple. housing loan and car loan is done everywhere. If those two things are being done, you have a car loan, you have a house you are living that you have to pay for 10 years or 15 years. You have a new car you change every year with a minimum or percentage of this thing. You will stay.
Aid also stressed the need for universal applicability.
Universal applicability refers to the ability of the concept, theory, and solution to be applied broadly and effectively across different content and situations in which it's being found. It should be adaptable in every sense of it. When you want to have universal applicability of remuneration, it should be adaptable, everybody should be able to do it. Flexible in the sense that look at the situation. Generalizable, that everybody, all doctor must enjoy it. Scalable in terms of scaling from senior to junior or from junior to senior. Relevant in terms of regulation to all doctors in Nigeria.
Medical practitioners are also seeking for optimal security and protection for members from harassment, including increment in retirement age of health workers. The members of the Nigerian Bar Association Ikeja branch have expressed dissatisfaction over the recent fuel price hike, inflation, and rising cost of living that bring more hardship to Nigerians. At a press conference aimed at addressing the issues, chairman of the branch, Oluwaseyi Olawumi, who presented the association's demands to the federal government, said the economic challenges have caused social unrest and pose implications for mental health.
Have not only created a web of economic challenges that pose significant hurdles to financial stability and well-being of our nation, but it has also contributed to society unrest and pose implications for mental health and overall well-being of Nigerian citizens. We stand in solidarity with the citizens of the country and echo the concerns and pains experienced by individuals and businesses and corporate bodies alike.
While preferring solutions to the current situation, he urged the President Bola Tinubu administration to implement policies that will reduce pressure on Nigerians.
The complicated impacts of fuel price hikes and inflation on individuals, businesses, and socio-economic structures. In addition, we recommend that the efficacy of existing policies in addressing these adversities be scrutinized and strategies that nurture economic resilience and prosperity be preferred. Subsidies or targeted relief programs in order to alleviate the burden, particularly on vulnerable groups. Relief programs and subsidies on essential commodities should be offered by governments.
The NBA Ikeja branch stressed that despite the challenges, access to justice should not be compromised. Okwabe, a riverine community in Ekpe, is about to take delivery of its first secondary school. Now, during a tour of the community, member Ekpe Federal House of Representatives Wale Raji and the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education Jamiu Ali Balogun said neither the economic status of parents nor the community which children reside in must deprive them of quality education. Olumide Ojo has the report.
Okwabe is one of the many rural and island communities in Ekpe local government. The age-long prayers of Okwabe and other communities around for their own secondary school had just been answered by their representative in the Green Chambers, Honorable Wale Raji. Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Jamiu Ali Balogun, and Honorable Wale Raji took time out to visit the new blocks of classrooms for the very first secondary school in the history of Okwabe and the adjoining communities.
Education is a fundamental human right of every citizen of Nigeria. And in the process, no child must be left behind. And when this is part of my constituency, it's an important part of my constituency, although isolated, being a rural community. And when the request came for the need for a secondary school here, so we had no choice but to take necessary action towards the actualization of the expectation of the people.
Education is key right now. Even in Lagos State, the Teen Agenda Plus focus on education and technology to leverage in giving our children the best qualitative education and build a future for them whereby they can be useful to our society.
The dignitaries stressed the importance of collaboration between all tiers of government for the good of Lagos electorates, no matter where they reside.
The commissioner has assured us that the staffing, steps towards the staffing of the school will commence immediately. So, and the students who are also anxiously waiting, to resume school here. So all we are doing is a joint effort, collaborative efforts between me, representing the peripheral constituency in the House of Reps, and the Honorable Commissioner and the state government to ensure that we reduce the number of out-of-school children.
We've gone around to 3 places today. He has done wonderfully well. We started from Epe Grammar School, whereby almost about 4 or 5 projects were done in that school. We have the mini stadium, well constructed. We have the hall, well constructed. The staff quarters, and also the classroom and boarding hostel facilities for our students.
Baales of some of the communities expressed utmost joy at the answer to their lifelong prayers.
Honorable Raji has promised us and also fulfill it. We are begging them to let the school commence in time.
Honorable Wali Raji assured his constituents in Ekpe Federal Constituency of his avowed commitment to their welfare and well-being as long as he remains their representative. Olumide Ojo, LTV News.
Coming up, Boring invites Aviation and Aerospace Minister Festus Keyamo stakeholders to head office to tackle aircraft shortage in the country. That's in business news. Stay with us.
On Business News Tonight.
On Business News Tonight, the Senate has approved over 24 billion naira as a promissory note refund to the Kebbi and Nasarawa state governments for construction works on the Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport, Birnin Kebbi, and the Lafia Cargo Airport. The federal government assumed control and ownership of the 2 airports, necessitating a reimbursement to the state government. Kebbi State will receive 15.1 billion naira, while Nasarawa State will be reimbursed 9.5 billion naira. The Senate's decision followed the adoption of the report presented by the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, submitted by the Vice Chairman of the committee on behalf of Senator Aliyu Wamaku, the committee's chairman. Recall that the Senate had in May this year considered the request of President Bola Tinubu to establish a promissory note program for reimbursement to the Kebbi State government of 15.1 billion naira and 9.5 billion naira to Kebbi State for takeover of the newly constructed airport executed on behalf of the federal government. The Senate has therefore approved the promissory note program to settle outstanding claims and liabilities of Kebbi and Nasarawa state governments. A bill for an act to amend the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020 to make provision for the protection of victims of fraudulent withdrawals from accounts and for related matters has scaled second reading at the House of Representatives. Sponsor of the bill, Honorable Moses Fayinka, member representing Mushin Federal Constituency, Lagos State, explains that the objective of the bill is to stop illegal funds transactions where monies are moved from the customer's account without the authorization of the customer for such transaction to take place.
There is an alarming rise of bank fraud or unauthorized withdrawal of deposit funds in Nigeria. In the banking industry, about 101,801 cases was reported in 2022 and 48,703 cases reported in 2023. Very more of it were never reported, making bank customers lose several billions of naira. This bill is in consideration to the uprising of various financial crimes within the country, with many of such passing through financial institutions, or we can call it commercial banking system. Dear honorable colleagues, we all know that virtually all banking transactions are done electronically, which means that transactions can either be ATM, POS, direct cash transfer.
Fayinka further explains that the bill's objective is to also stop banks from the cover-up of such syndicates without reporting such action to the receiving bank and the police for necessary action. Other objectives of the bill are for both the paying and receiving banks to get the culprit prosecuted, to pay all necessary bills in the course of the recovery processes, and to make a refund back to the victim's account without charges. Members, while contributing to the debate, said the bill is very imperative considering the charges and other fraudulent activities in banks as being reported by customers. Following the adoption of the bill by the House, the presiding officer of the day, Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu, referred it to the Committee on Banking Regulations. Leading aircraft manufacturer Boeing has invited the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, selected financial institutions in Nigeria, members of the Airlines Operators of Nigeria, aircraft financiers and lessors to Dublin, Ireland, to find a lasting solution to the aircraft shortage in the country. This was made known through a letter to the minister signed by the Commercial Sales Director of Boeing, More Ibekwe. Recall that the minister had in August visited the head office of the aircraft manufacturers to solicit support from the manufacturers to help Nigeria secure aircraft leasing for Nigerian airlines. To end this support, reports say a list of requirements was presented to the minister, among which was the signing of the Cape Town Convention and the Irrevocable Deregistration and Export Request Authorization Advisory Circular for the record and cancellation of leased aircraft in the country. Both documents have been signed by the federal government and the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. In response to this development, Boeing in its letter thanked and commended the efforts of the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development under President Bola Tinubu's leadership to improving the lives of Nigerians through an enhanced aviation industry. Nigeria's refining sector is set for significant growth with the issuance of new licenses by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA. The NMDPRA has granted 9 licenses to establish, 7 licenses to construct, and 4 licenses to operate modular refineries, indicating a strong push towards increased domestic refining capacity. NMDPR Chief Executive Farouk Ahmed, during the 18th OTL Africa Downstream Energy Week, expressed the country's target of achieving 3 million barrels per day in crude oil production and an increase in domestic gas utilization to 10 billion standard cubic feet per day. He adds that expanding domestic refining would position Nigeria as a net exporter of petroleum products. Ahmed also notes the development of the West African Gas Pipeline project extending to Morocco, which aims to facilitate the movement of natural gas across West Africa. He suggests a potential partnership with East and Southern African regional regulators to establish a Pan-African Energy Regulators Association, which will streamline regulations across the continent. That's it on business news. We now leave you with tradings on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Nigeria Gloves for Africa team arrived the country today from Ghana. Gloves for Africa visited Ghana to extend their reach to other challenged communities across Africa, using boxing to unite and preach peace in the continent. The 2-week trip to Ghana also showcased top boxing talents from Africa slug it out in the Future Legend face-off at the Wisdom Boxing Gym, Accra, Ghana. Nigeria's Damilare Arowolo, fondly called Ugly Wolf, fought Leonard Edem Azuma of Ghana in their own bout, which ended in a draw. The challenge was an exhibition contest for boxers who were on showcase.
We've been doing several things in Nigeria here, and we decided to extend our reach to Ghana to give them their support, our support, and also some basic equipment that could enable them to maximize their potential. We also had an exhibition bout to bring boxers together from all parts of Africa. 2 boxers came from Togo, several from Ghana, one from Ivory Coast. And it was really an amazing moment, gathering the community together in one boxing gym, doing things, celebrating the sport of boxing.
I have a good experience in Ghana, so this is my first time being in Ghana, and I had an exhibition fight. I did so well, and I'm proud. My people are proud of me, and I'm so happy for the fight. My next thing now is look for more fight to fight, so I'm always ready to fight. I want to be a one champion, so I'm ready for it.
The trip also afforded Gloves for Africa the opportunity to visit schools built with woods, with some of the boxers who are ambassadors to inspire them that impossibility does not exist, because they also passed through the challenged communities and yet they succeeded. They also shared some school materials to schools so they could share to students, and visited about 8 boxing clubs in Ghana, namely Jamestown, Atokwashia Gym, Black Panthers Boxing Foundation, Besaka Box Education Program, Training Inside Bronx Boxing Gym, Wisdom Boxing Club, to share boxing gloves and also create time to speak to them, encourage them to be disciplined and resilient towards their dreams.
We also visited a school in a challenged community where the school is built with planks, woods, and we gave them our support with the students' materials. We also went there with some boxing champions in Ghana to inspire them, to let them know that regardless of their challenged communities, impossible does not exist. This has really meant a lot to us because it's a dream come true, trying to extend our reach to other parts of Africa. Though we've sent some things to Ivory Coast, we've not been there. We've sent some things to Kenya and Uganda, we've not been there. And this is just the first time of going outside our comfort zone, Lagos, where we started from, and extending our reach to other parts of Africa. So I'm sure this has opened more, is an eye-opener to more opportunities in Africa as a whole. So we are planning to extend more reach to other parts of African countries.
They also visited Professor Azuma Nelson at his residence in Accra to solidify plans on collaboration with Azuma Nelson Foundation in order to help more of these amazing ones in the challenged communities in Africa. 9 bouts were decided in different weight categories for boxers to showcase their potential. Australian wicket-keeper batter Matthew Wade has announced his retirement from international cricket. The 36-year-old will immediately take up a coaching role with the Australian men's team and will be involved in their T20 international series against Pakistan next month. Wade is set to continue to play in the Big Bash for Hobart Hurricanes and in various T20 Globe franchise tournaments. He made 225 international appearances for Australia in an all-format, the last of which came in the Super 8s phase of this year's T20 World Cup against India. Wade played 92 T20s for Australia and scored 1,202 runs in 68 innings at an average of 26.13. In one-day internationals, the left-hander made 1,867 runs in 83 innings at an average of 26.29, hitting 1 century and 11 half-centuries. Wade also played 36 tests for Australia, hitting 4 centuries and was part of their side for the 2019 Ashes. As a wicket-keeper, he finished with 240 catches and 26 stumpings across all international formats for Australia.
On the foreign scene, an Israeli airstrike has destroyed a 5-story residential building sheltering displaced families in Gaza's Beit Lahia, killing at least 109 Palestinians, including children, and wounding dozens. There has been no immediate comment on the strike from Israel's military, which began a new offensive in the area earlier this month after saying Hamas was regrouping there. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, have been operating in northern Gaza during the past 2 weeks, particularly in the areas of Jabalia, Beit Lahia, and Beit Hanun. Israel says its operations in northern Gaza are designed to prevent Hamas from regrouping and accuses them of embedding among the civilian population, which Hamas denies. The northern Gaza Strip faces a deepening humanitarian crisis with hundreds of thousands of people living in desperate conditions. Let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Before we end the news tonight, let's take a quick look at our top stories. President Bola Tinubu has launched the Emblem Appeal Fund for 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. The Implementation Committee on Crude Oil and Product Sales in Naira have met President Bola Tinubu, briefed him on progress. The All Progressives Congress has inaugurated a 305-member National Campaign Council for Ondo governorship election led by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. On the foreign scene, we told you that at least 109 have been killed and several missing in Israeli strike on Gaza. For more news, connect with Lagos Television on these social media platforms. And here is our parting shot. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. Many thanks for watching the news at 8. Please remember to call Lagos toll-free lines 767 or 112 in case of emergencies. I am Bukola Taylor Cole. Good night.